The Tobago House of Assembly has secured a major legal victory after the High Court dismissed a more than $90 million claim arising out of the construction of the Lance Formey Charlotteville Road in Tobago. The lawsuit was brought by Raghunath Singh and Company Limited, which alleged it was owed millions of dollars for variations to the project, delays, cost overruns, overhead expenses, environmental requirements, retention monies, and other works connected to the contract. Court documents show the project was awarded in 2022 at a cost of approximately $34.7 million and was scheduled to be completed within 18 months. Instead, the project was not completed until 2007, roughly 3 years behind schedule. The contractor claimed that changing designs, weather conditions, rising costs, additional environmental requirements, and other factors significantly increased the cost of the project. By the time the matter reached court, the company was seeking just over $90.6 million, including more than $53 million in interest. But Justice Frank Seepersad found that the company's legal challenge came far too late. The judge noted that the final payment certificate under the contract was issued on August 3, 2007. However, legal proceedings were not filed until November 2022, some 15 years later. In his ruling, Justice Seepersad concluded, quote, "The claimant commenced these proceedings in 2022, which is 15 years after the date of issue of certificate number 31, and accordingly the claimant's claim in contract is statute-barred," end quote. The court also found that many of the claims being advanced had already been rejected years earlier by the project supervising engineers Lee Young and Partners. According to the judgment, claims relating to bridge works, piling design changes, fluctuations in labor and material costs, and additional expenses had either been rejected or never properly certified under the contract. Justice Seepersad noted, quote, "The claimant filed to invoke the processes outlined under the contract in this regard. Having failed to engage in Article 68 framework, the claimant cannot now come to the court to seek relief," end quote. The judgment was also critical of the company's handling of its final account. The court found that the contract required the contractor to submit a draft final statement of account to the supervising engineers within 30 days of the issuance of the provisional acceptance certificate. Instead, the company submitted what it described as a final account to the THA years later, bypassing the contractual certification process altogether. Justice Seepersad emphasized, quote, "Commercial rights and obligations of parties are determined not by retrospective notions of fairness or subjective perceptions of what one party believes ought to have been paid, but by the contractual procedures and mechanisms freely adopted by sophisticated commercial actors," end quote. The THA also argued that it was not the proper party to the claim because the contract was executed on behalf of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. However, the judge rejected that argument, finding that the project was undertaken for the benefit of the THA and fell squarely within its statutory responsibilities for roads and infrastructure on the island. Despite that finding, the court ultimately concluded that the contractor had failed to establish any legal entitlement to the millions of dollars being claimed. In dismissing the action, Justice Seepersad ruled that the claims were statute-barred, unsupported by the evidence, and contrary to the contractual procedures agreed by the parties more than 20 years ago. Urvashi Tawari, Raghunath, TV6 News.